Today I am going to explain a poem, The Road Not Taken, by Robert Lee Frost. Here is an image of Robert Lee Frost. He was an American poet, and whatever the poems he wrote are based on simple and common rural life. It means his poems present a realistic picture of village life. His themes help us understand the complex theories of social life which otherwise lead us to failure. Now let us try to understand what the poem is about. By the title of the poem, The Road Not Taken, the poet means that the path that we don't choose in our life is the road not taken. The poet also says that the choices we make in our life decide our future or destination. He further says that we must be very careful while making our choices as they have a great impact on our future or life, and if we make a wrong choice we have to regret but can't go back on it. We have to move on continuously under any circumstances. So we must be very careful while making choices. So this we can also understand by means of picture given here. So we can see that there is a road that gets divided into two parts at a certain point in the yellow wood. So whenever we reach such a point in the yellow wood, or whenever we reach such a point in our life, we need to be very careful as the wrong selection will lead us to failure, where the right selection will bring us prosperity. Now let us come to the first stanza of the poem, The Road Not Taken. The lines are as follows: two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Through the first stanza of the poem, the poet wants to say that while walking down the road, he reaches a junction where the road gets divided into two parts in a yellow forest. Here, the yellow forest refers to the season of autumn in which the leaves of trees and plants turn pale. Now, as a traveler, it is not possible for the poet to travel both the roads. So he stands there thinking for a long time which road he should take. He looks down the first road as far as he can, trying to see how it is and where it goes, but can't find out anything as the road remains covered with lips. So, the main thing that is given here is that the poet is in dilemma. He is not able to decide which road he should follow. Now, look at the second stanza of the poem. Then took the other just as fair and having perhaps the better clam because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had on them really about the same. Through the second stanza of the poem, the poet wants to say that both the roads appear similar to him, but he decides to check the other road because he finds it to be grassy and less traveled by the people. He then starts walking on the road, thinking it to be a better road for him. But after walking for some time, he finds that both the paths are equally same. There is hardly any difference between them. So the main message is that whatever we want to achieve is not an easy and simple task. Problems are everywhere. The main thing is that we need to face it bravely. Now, see the third stanza of the poem, The Road Not Taken, and both that morning equally lay in leaps, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. In this stanza, the poet goes into flashback and recalls that both the paths were covered with green leaves that morning because no one had walked on the roads. The poet exclaims that he will travel the first another day, but later he contradicts himself as he knows how one way leads on to another way and then another. Therefore, it is not possible for him to come back and travel the first once again. Therefore, he also doubts if he will ever be able to come back and travel the first. Similarly, whenever we make a choice in our life, we have to go ahead with the same choice. We cannot be back because the time spent in returning back to the initial point may fulfill our goal. Now let us come to the last stanza of the poem, The Road Not Taken. The lines are as follows. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Through the last stanza of the poem, the poet wants to say that in future he will take a deep breath and tell everyone that once he reached such a point in life where he had to make a choice. There were two options for him, but he had to select one. So the poet decided to go on the path that was less traveled by people, and that decision had changed his entire life. So, the main message that the poet wants to convey through the last stanza of the poem is that the poet selected the path that was less traveled by people because he knew that the path that seems easy and simple in the beginning turns out to be difficult later on, and the difficult and long one becomes easy later in the future. And hence, there is a strong message present in the poem, and the message is that we should be very careful while making a choice, as it will either enhance our prosperity or ruin our career.